Welcome everybody to 2020. It is the new year. It's a fresh start to life. Thanks for listening to the podcast. This is your host, Dan Giffen. Like always, this is going to be a great year to start off on some new goals, which I feel like a lot of people don't ever keep. We always are like, yeah, this year is going to be different. I'm going to do this, this, and this. And then it's kind of bullshit and nobody ever actually does those things. But I'm going to challenge you today and give you a couple ideas on how you can step up your music production skills, set some goals that actually last, and have a couple updates that I want to share with you that I think you might enjoy and that I think might help you for the year of 2020, which is going to be super awesome, right? Positivity is always important. So I'm going to let you guys know, first of all, there's the remix contest with my project called Philia. There's a new song, Smooth Rides, which I released early December, and I am doing a remix contest, giving away lots of prizes with Arturia's Pigments plugin, Mixed In Keys, Captain plugins, and Captain Beats, and lots of other plugins, my friends Delta Sound Labs, and a free annual membership to my Ableton training site, liveproducersonline.com. Super dope stuff. If you want to enter, the date has been pushed back to January 15th. You can remix the song and get all the stems and win super cool prizes. Just go to philiamusic.com/remix. That's PHILIA music.com/remix. There's a link in the show notes for that as well, which you should check out. January 15th is the deadline. It could literally be 1 minute, it could be 45 seconds, it could be 5 minutes or a full track. Whatever you want to remix, send it to me and my Philia band are going to check it out. And the person that will choose the winner is going to be Ill Factor, which he was in a previous episode. Super cool dude. He's scored the soundtrack for the video game Assassin's Creed and has worked with a ton of different Grammy artists and producers. He's a really cool dude, and he's going to choose a winner. So it's good exposure for you. It's a good way to win a lot of cool prizes. And I want to hear what you are making with my stems. It'd be really super dope. Also, the other day, my good friend Brian Funk, which Funk is like the coolest last name in the world, Mr. Funk. He has the music production podcast. He was on an episode here a while ago, but he shared the other day about the Jamuary thing that is happening. And if you're not familiar with what Jamuary is, it's every day for the month of January, you post a video of you producing or playing a MIDI controller or whatever, just making music. And it's a fun way to become part of a community every day for the month of January. Just do hashtag Jamuary2020 and post something every day. It could be 20 seconds, it could be a minute long. On Instagram, and it's a good way to become part of that community, and it's a good challenge for yourself just to make something every day. Doesn't have to be the most high quality thing, but it's really more about the accountability and just sharing what you're doing with a community of other producers. So hashtag Jamuary2020, Jamuary. I had to think about that pretty hard. Jamuary, yep, 2020. Do that. It's pretty cool. If you want to, also, I would love if you tagged Live Producers Online in that. If you're on Instagram and you're doing January, just do @LiveProducersOnline. I love to see the posts that you guys are making, and that's my Ableton Live Training Instagram account. One more quick thing, speaking of Ableton Live Training, if you this year are like, man, I would love to develop my skills in Ableton Live. I would love to actually get hands-on guidance on my own projects while learning how to produce in Ableton Live, or step up my mixing skills, or learning how to configure my music from studio to stage, or just getting started with production, I would love to help you. My membership has changed over the last year, where now for $100 a month, I will meet with you and do what's called monthly coaching sessions, where you can basically send me your projects and I'll give you feedback, and I'll actually help you work on your projects and send them back to you. And you also get access to all of my Ableton Live courses, teaching production, DJing, live performance, everything. You get a ridiculous amount of content, and I don't know of any other Ableton Live training site on the internet that is that affordable and that gives you so much. So check that out, liveproducersonline.com. There's a link in the show notes. If you join the pro plan, I will help you month by month reaching your goals, producing music and giving you feedback on your tracks and guiding you through the website to reach your musical goals. There's also a basic plan. So for half that much, $50 a month, you can just access all of the courses without the monthly coaching sessions and still have a lot of really good content to grow your skills. So check that out, liveproducersonline.com, link in the show notes. That's enough about that. But I wanted to challenge everybody listening to the podcast. And honestly, I'm doing a lot of this for myself because this is just me kicking my own self in the butt and encouraging myself to actually do the goals that I have in my head. But I'm going to encourage you guys to do really two things, and they're really simple things, but it can go a really long way in fast tracking your skills and helping you stay organized and just kind of pushing you forward with music production for the year of 2020. And that is to spend 15 minutes a day doing one of two things in Ableton Live. 15 minutes is not that long, right? When you think of doing something every day, it can seem kind of like a chore or a task. But if you do it every day for the first 30 days, it's going to become a habit. I mean, that's psychology. So if you do something every day for 30 days, they say, whoever they are, that it becomes a habit. And if you can do these things for at least the first 30 days and continue throughout the year, I'm 100% sure that it will really help refine your skills and take you further with music as far as producing in the studio. You probably shower for longer than 15 minutes every day, so you can do this. I believe in you. And the first thing is organization. So one of the things I would encourage you to do is spend 15 minutes a day, and it doesn't have to be every day, but I'm encouraging you to do one of these two things. And one of the things can be just organizing your instruments in your browser and collections and going back through your projects and finding the projects that you want to continue to work on. So for an example, I would encourage you to go back through, say you've already been producing for a year or two, go back through and find your favorite projects and go through and sort out your kick drums and your snares and maybe that one synth that you really love of that plug-in preset and of Serum or whatever, or Wavetable, and save that and organize your collections in your browser. I organize my collections in Ableton Live's browser by instruments, mixing, effects, and devices. So you could start saving all the sounds and one-shot samples from your projects and organize them into those folders and really narrow it down. Like, you don't need to have 400 kick drums. That's just not necessary. I mean, it'll help you really define your own sound as a producer. And that's been my experience working with other producers as well. It's just kind of honing in your favorite samples and presets, saving that in the browser. And that way, when you are inspired later to start producing, you already know those 4 go-to kicks or snares or those 2 favorite sub basses. And it just makes producing a lot faster, less of a headache. Another thing I would encourage you to do while we're on the topic of organization is to go through your previous projects. And what I do is I make a folder, and I have a folder that says finish later. One of the things I'm encouraging you to do with this challenge is not only to go back through and organize your library of sounds and everything, but spend 15 minutes a day just producing something and give yourself permission to make crap, right? You're not going to be writing like knock it out of the park tracks every day. If you do, that's fantastic. I mean, I'd love to hear it, especially if you're remixing the Smooth Rides remix contest. Shameless plug. But I would encourage you to really create a folder inside of your Ableton Live projects folder and start as you're producing every day, just 15 minutes a day. And it could literally be anything, just a little idea. Maybe it's a 4-bar loop or 8-bar loop or continuing to work on a track. Take the tracks that you feel really connected with and go back through and move those into a designated folder where you're like, this is a banger. This is the track I love. I want to finish this. And take those projects and start putting them in a little special folder and then go back to those when you feel really inspired. And I like to jump around between, say, 4 or 5 projects at a time for my own music and just continue to work on those 4 tracks. I find myself, and I'm sure you've experienced this, if you work on the same track over and over and over and over and over, eventually you don't know what's up or down anymore. And honestly, you start to hate that song because you've heard it so many times. So pick like 4 or 5 of your favorite tracks, put it in a special folder, and then over time, rotate and keep working on those over, a month or two, and then start knocking those out. And then as you're spending these 15 minutes a day just producing a new idea, new loops or whatever, then start to gravitate and go back and listen through those later and find those hidden gems of like, this is really dope. I want to continue with this. Drag that into your favorite finish later folder and then keep working on that with the other 4 or 5 tracks in that folder. Just a little tip for you guys. But 15 minutes a day is nothing. Like literally it probably takes you half that time to brush your teeth, right? And you hopefully brush your teeth twice a day or so. So like that, it's not that long. Just do it. Other music goals. So one thing I started doing last year, and I feel like it was incredibly helpful for me to stay focused and to kind of continue to press on in the dark times when you're like, feeling directionless or you feel hopeless or things aren't working out the way you wish they would. Start writing down your music goals. And what I like to do is I like to create a weekly, monthly, and annual plan. So on the weekly level, I'm creating actionable steps to reach these monthly and annual goals. Like for example, for me, my goal is to play one awesome show a month with my band Philia. And so what I've done is every week I start creating a content calendar. So on my iCalendar, I go through and I say, all right, for this week 1, I'm going to actually start reaching out to a bunch of local venues. I'm going to go on Facebook and I'm going to look at the event schedule for all these venues I'd like to play at and make sure there's nothing booked on those dates. And then I email the booking manager and the promoter for those different venues and say, hey, is this date open? I'd like to play. And I start creating those weekly actionable steps. Then the next week is like, okay, like the events I do have, I'm going to start creating a scheduling post on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter for my next show, and I'm going to start creating marketing materials for those events, things like that on the weekly level. But I would encourage you to make like monthly or annual goals. Maybe your monthly goal is to release 1 track every month. That's awesome. Well, what is it going to take on a weekly basis to actually make that happen? Maybe your annual goal is to open for one of your favorite artists coming on tour through your town. Well, like what are the weekly things you could do to start, looking at and seeing who's coming through town? You get the idea, but start writing down your goals, start organizing them in a weekly, monthly, and annual way. And I think that'll take you a really long way when you actually have it written down. And then another thing I would encourage you to do is talk to people about these goals. Like don't just keep them to yourself, but share them with your friends and be like, these are my goals. Help me stay accountable with this. I think accountability is key, and you're going to need people when it comes to making music. Because it gets lonely and when you're in a dark room hunched over your computer all night and you're not actually playing shows or you're not actually releasing the music you want. So collaboration is key. Get out there and tell people about these specific goals and tasks that you want to achieve for 2020. I like using Excel, or you can use Google Sheets. It's free. And start writing down these monthly, weekly, annual goals, and hopefully that'll help you go farther. Another thing I would encourage you guys to do for 2020 is like stay hungry for learning, like for me, not only as like an Ableton trainer and as a producer and performer myself, I make it a goal to try to learn as much as I can. I have my brother-in-law is actually a major consultant for a lot of cybersecurity firms all over the world. And he's told me one of the things I'll never forget is he said, never be the smartest person in the room. And that's true, because you want to stay humble, you want to have a passion for learning, and that's going to take you a lot farther in life. So I encourage you guys to learn something new every day. And once again, if you guys want help or guidance on your own projects with the learning process, my pro membership, I really believe, is the answer, and I can help you reach your goals producing in whatever genre of music you're passionate about. With my membership site. So link in the show notes for that, as I mentioned earlier. Would love to help you guys crush it in the new year and help you grow your skills producing music in Ableton Live and reaching your goals. That's what it's about. And all that to say, thank you for checking out the podcast. Much love to everybody. This is a nice, short and sweet episode. Check out the remix contest. The link is in the show notes. Go out and make some awesome tracks. Stay positive. This is a new year, right? Honestly, you're going to become whoever you want to be, and you have that power to actually do so. So collaborate with other people. Consider joining the membership. I'd be happy to help you grow your skills producing in Ableton Live and help you work on your own tracks. subscribe on YouTube. If you guys haven't checked out the YouTube channel and just search Live Producers Online, I'm going to be doing live streams in there. And it's a great way for you to see the songs I'm working on and learn new workflows and tips that I use in my own songs and producing for other people as well. So check that out. I want to leave you guys with a quote for 2020 that I think summarizes a lot of all of that we just talked about here. And it's by the great Quincy Jones. I love Quincy Jones. He's an amazing dude, incredible, famous producer. So this is what he said. He said, "Once a task has begun, never leave it until it's done. Whatever labor, great or small, do it well or not at all." Super good, right? And for me, I just look at that and I'm like, wow, it's easy to kind of get distracted. You get inspired. You want to move forward and do something. For me, I'm pretty ADD at times. So I'm like all over the place. So having these goals, writing them down, staying passionate, pursuing, staying inspired, just do it well. Like, do things with excellence and give yourself permission to fail. That's all I have to say today. Love you guys. Thanks for checking out the podcast. As always, you can go to liveproducersonline.com, join the membership, access all my courses. Be happy to help you producing music from studio to stage in Ableton Live. Go make some bangers. I will see you guys next time.